Okay, so picture this. You're settling in for movie night, ready for a big bowl of popcorn, but it's not the 21st century. It's 6700 BC.
Wow, that's going way back.
Right. But get this. People in Peru were enjoying popcorn even then. Crazy, huh? We're talking thousands of years of popcorn history.
It really is amazing how something as simple as popcorn has been around for so long, and on this deep dive, we're going to uncover its incredible journey.
From those ancient Peruvian popcorn lovers to, well, us. And we've got some awesome info from stuff you missed in history classes to help us along the way.
That's right, we'll be using their podcast episode along with some other fascinating facts we found.
But before we get too deep into popcorn's past, we got to talk about, well, a myth, right? You've probably heard that popcorn was served at the very first Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah, that story gets passed around a lot.
Sadly, it's just not true.
Nope, no historical evidence to back it up.
It's a shame. It kind of makes you want to rewrite history a bit, doesn't it?
It does sound like a charming tradition, though.
It does. It seems like that whole idea really took off in the 19th and 20th centuries, but it's a big old myth.
A delicious myth, but a myth nonetheless.
So, if the first Thanksgiving wasn't graced with popcorn, where does its real story begin?
Well, let's go back to those 6,700-year-old popcorn cobs discovered in Peru.
Yeah, those are pretty convincing proof.
They show us popcorn was enjoyed in South America way before we were writing things down.
Makes you wonder if they, wrote about it and we just haven't found those records yet, right?
It's possible, but even without those written accounts, researchers think popcorn cultivation might go back even further, maybe 9,000 years ago.
Wow, that's older than pottery. So, popcorn predates civilization as we know it.
That's right. It's amazing to think that something we consider a simple snack has such ancient roots.
It makes you wonder how those early popcorn fans ate it. Was it just a snack? Or was it something, I don't know, more?
You're hitting on something really interesting there because popcorn had a much deeper meaning in some cultures, especially for the Aztecs.
Okay, now we're talking. Popcorn and the Aztecs. Tell me more.
For the Aztecs, popcorn wasn't just food, it was woven into their rituals, their beliefs. It was part of their ceremonies.
That's so cool.
They even had a word, toapoka, for the sound of kernels popping.
A word just for the sound of popcorn popping. That's wild.
They also saw a connection between those kernels bursting into fluffy white shapes and rain clouds.
So like a symbol of life and abundance.
Exactly. And this brings us to Tlaloc.
Tlaloc.
He was the Aztec rain god. They associated popcorn with him.
So we're talking about a sacred offering. Man, I never thought about popcorn like that.
Right. It shows how something we often take for granted can have such a deep cultural significance.
But, how did this sacred snack get from the Americas to the rest of the world?
That's where European explorers come into the picture. People like Cortez.
Cortez, right. Okay, for those of us who maybe slept through history class, can you give us a quick recap on Cortez and the Aztecs?
Sure. Hernan Cortez was a Spanish conquistador, the one who led the expedition that conquered the Aztec Empire in the early 1500s.
Okay, right. Cortez, the conquistador.
That was a major turning point, the start of Spanish colonization in the Americas.
Gotcha. So Cortez and his crew brought popcorn back to Europe. Did it become a hit right away?
Actually, no. Europeans weren't quick to embrace popcorn as a food.
Really? Why not? Was it too weird for them?
It's hard to say for sure, but they used it mostly for animal feed for a while.
That's so strange.
Maybe it was just too different from their usual foods, or maybe they just didn't know how to prepare it properly.
I can just imagine them trying to boil popcorn kernels or something.
Who knows? But eventually, popcorn did find its way onto European tables, and eventually it crossed the Atlantic to the United States.
And that's where the real popcorn party began.
Right. It's pretty amazing how popcorn broke through those cultural barriers and eventually became such a beloved snack.
And in the U.S., it went from something new and different to a full-blown national obsession.
A story we'll pick up in part 2 of our deep dive. So we were talking about popcorn making its way to the U.S.
Yeah, it's really the 19th century that his story takes off in America.
And it's kind of interesting, isn't it, how popcorn's rise coincides with all that innovation and growth happening in the U.S.?
Totally.
Yeah.
Like it's not just a coincidence.
Not at all. A lot of those advancements were actually key to popcorn's success.
Like what?
Well, for one, the invention of the steel plow that made it so much easier to grow corn on a larger scale.
Right. More corn, lower prices.
Exactly. Makes it affordable for everyone.
And then you've got guys like Charles Creters coming onto the scene.
Charles Creeders, a true popcorn pioneer.
He saw the potential of popcorn, didn't he?
He did. Started selling it at fairs, sporting events, circuses, you name it.
Smart move.
And not just selling it, but he changed the way we enjoy it.
You're talking about the popcorn machine.
The steam-powered popcorn machine, the granddaddy of all the ones we see today.
It's like he gave popcorn legs, you know? He made it portable.
Exactly. People could walk around enjoying their popcorn.
Can you imagine, like, the smell of fresh popcorn at those events?
Oh, it must have been incredible.
Irresistible. But, you know, we can't talk about Creeders without mentioning movie theaters.
Absolutely. He's the reason popcorn and movies go hand in hand.
So it all started with that World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago back in 1893, right?
That's right. He showed off his popcorn machine there. People went crazy for it.
They must have, right? Who can resist fresh popcorn?
And that's how the whole mobile food vending industry really got going. Popcorn was suddenly everywhere.
But it wasn't a smooth ride into those movie theaters, was it?
Not exactly. Some theater owners weren't so keen on the idea at first.
Really? Why not?
Well, they wanted to keep things a bit more, refined, sophisticated.
Yeah, I guess popcorn isn't exactly known for being tidy.
Right. Crumbs, buttery fingers, the whole bit.
But people love popcorn, right?
They did. So at first you had vendors selling it outside the theaters.
Smart move.
But eventually theater owners realized they were missing out.
Had to get on that popcorn train.
And so popcorn made its way into the lobbies. And, well, you know the rest.
Popcorn in movies, a match made in heaven.
But popcorn's story isn't all sunshine and rainbows.
What do you mean?
Well, it's faced its share of challenges, historical ups and downs.
Oh, right, like the Great Depression.
Exactly. During those tough times, popcorn was an affordable treat, a little bit of happiness people could still afford.
It's amazing how something so simple can bring comfort during tough times.
And then there's World War II, another big turning point.
Popcorn played a part in the war effort.
In a way, yes. Sugar was rationed during the war, but popcorn didn't need any sugar.
So popcorn sales actually went up.
They did. It was one of the few snacks people could still enjoy freely.
Wow, popcorn really has a knack for adapting.
It does. But then came another challenge, the rise of television.
Uh-oh, I bet movie theaters weren't too happy about that.
They weren't. TV meant fewer people going to the movies, which meant fewer people buying popcorn.
I bet that sent a ripple through the popcorn industry.
It did. But then something interesting happened. People realized popcorn wasn't just for the movies. It was the perfect snack for watching TV at home, too.
So popcorn sales bounced back.
They did. It just goes to show popcorn can adapt to anything.
It's like the ultimate survivor snack.
And then you have folks like Orville Redenbacher, who really took popcorn to the next level.
Ah, yes, Orville, the popcorn king.
He was obsessed with popcorn, spent years developing his own special strain.
And those kernels, they were huge.
They were, and the taste, fantastic.
He had a marketing genius, too, his face on every bag.
It worked. He made popcorn personal, people trusted him, and the popcorn lived up to the hype.
A true popcorn visionary.
He was, and then came the invention that changed everything, the microwave oven.
Talk about convenience.
Right. Microwave popcorn made it so easy to enjoy popcorn at home.
Do you remember those early microwave popcorn bags?
Oh yeah, the ones where half the kernels didn't pop.
And the smell of burnt popcorn? Oh, man.
A classic. But microwave popcorn has come a long way.
So many flavors now.
Tons of options. But, microwave popcorn has faced some competition lately.
You're talking about pre-popped popcorn.
Yeah, the stuff that's ready to eat right out of the bag.
So convenient.
Yeah.
And healthier, too, right?
A lot of it is air popped, which is definitely a healthier option.
And the flavors, wow. You can get anything these days.
From truffle parmesan to sriracha lime, it's a whole new world of popcorn.
It's amazing how far popcorn has come, from ancient rituals to gourmet snack food.
It really is. And who knows what the future holds for this beloved snack.
So we've gone from ancient popcorn rituals to, like, sriracha lime popcorn.
It's been a wild ride through popcorn history, hasn't it?
It really has. But what's next for popcorn? Where does it go from here? What's the future of this ancient snack that everyone seems to love?
It's funny, popcorn has this knack for reinventing itself.
It does, doesn't it?
Think about it. It's been a sacred offering, street food, a movie theater staple, and now we're seeing this whole gourmet popcorn boom. Who knows what's next?
You're right. Like even during COVID, when theaters were shut down, popcorn was still there.
It was.
People were making it at home, trying to recreate that movie experience.
Exactly. And some theaters were even selling popcorn curbside just to keep going.
I remember that. It shows how much people connect popcorn with, well, entertainment, relaxation.
Absolutely. But, going back to those gourmet flavors we were talking about.
Yeah, the truffle parmesan, the sriracha lime, all that.
Do you think we'll see even more, like, unusual popcorn flavors in the future?
I think so. I mean, look at the trends. Everyone's looking for those unique, exciting flavors in all kinds of snacks.
True.
Popcorn's like a blank canvas for flavor experimentation, right?
Exactly.
I could already picture like popcorn inspired by different cuisines, like
Yeah.
a Thai curry popcorn
Yeah.
or a Moroccan tagine popcorn, something like that.
Now, those are some interesting ideas.
And hey, maybe we'll see popcorn-infused drinks or popcorn and other snacks like protein bars.
You never know. It's exciting to think about the possibilities. It really makes you wonder if popcorn has come this far, what's to say some other everyday food won't become the next big thing?
That's a great point. Like, what's hiding in our pantries right now, just waiting to be discovered?
Right. Maybe it'll be roasted chickpeas, maybe something we haven't even thought of yet.
Food history is full of surprises, that's for sure.
It is. And who knows, maybe one of our listeners will be the one to discover the next popcorn.
Well, on that note, thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the world of popcorn.
It was my pleasure. It's been fascinating.
We've learned so much about its history, the cultural side of things, and why it's remained so popular for, well, thousands of years. And to our listeners, keep exploring, keep discovering. You never know what amazing stories are out there just waiting to be found.